Andi Fetzner is the co-founder of Origins Training. She is a psychologist and trainer. She's focused on trauma-informed principles. Welcome to the show, Andi.
Thanks for having me, George. Super grateful to be here.
Yeah, excited to have you on. Tell us a little bit about your personal life, more about your work, and why you do what you do.
Why do I do what I do? Thanks for the intro. I am a psychologist, I'm a therapist, I am a trainer, and I do those things under with the motivation of inspiring others because I've been so inspired by others throughout my own personal life. I couldn't be where I am without other people in my life. And so I try to create spaces and I like to be in spaces where that is reciprocated.
Oh, I certainly appreciate that. Reciprocity is a beautiful thing. I don't know if we're losing sight of that. It's probably if you paid attention to the wrong things, you probably think that, but I know that
Mhm.
you're building a community and seeing a lot of people interested in reciprocity. So maybe I should just withhold my thoughts on it.
One of the things that I have adopted in the last 4.5-ish years since I've been on my own recovery journey has been looking for the similarities and not the differences. And that has been a huge helper for me in creating community, is really looking for the humanity. And my work around trauma-informed approaches, resilience building approaches is really with that in mind. How are we all human together? How do we all respond to stress differently, similarly, sometimes both, right? And how can we move together out of that stressed space through connection into a space of resilience, into a space of riding the waves? Because yes, George, in this world that we're living in, we definitely can't control the ocean, right? The ocean that is the world. But I think together we can learn to ride the waves. And I take that approach in my therapy world, in the community, in my work at Origins, um, all together. How can we build those skills?
It's so interesting how the fear of loss is twice as strong as the potential for gain.
Mm,
And we are, I guess, hardwired probably for survival to look for things that are out of place. So differences versus similarities. But in
mhm.
today's world, we're obviously better served looking for those things that are connecting us versus things that are separating us.
Mm. It is a hard wiring, which requires us to be vulnerable enough and brave enough to acknowledge that we are human, right? Like this is part of me. I have fallen, I have made mistakes, I have gotten back up again. Sometimes I've run into the same wall many, many times. I have some bruises and some scars to prove it. And I'm not the only one. It's kind of the like me. I think that's Pema Chodron, her like me philosophy. We've all fallen, and it's okay to fall, and it's okay to get up, and sometimes it's okay to throw a little pity party. I'm a big fan of like a nice little 10-minute pity party, temper tantrum. I love to feel the feeling, but what we do when we are resilient and we build that different pattern of moving away from that reactivity into riding the waves is now I don't have to live in that reactivity, right? And hopefully we don't live in that reactivity. We visit it and then we can, because we do need to survive. Sometimes there is an actual real threat. And so it's not a bad response to have. It's just sometimes not very helpful when somebody's opinion or somebody's thought or somebody's fear is theirs and it's not impacting us directly in that moment, we can come from a place of understanding, a place of curiosity, and learn something, and then find a way to connect and humanize ourselves. Really, that is the most revolutionary, most thing you can do as a resistor is to humanize oneself, humanize another person in this world where our brains and our those in power want us to other and separate. I think that's one of the most powerful things we can do is is be in humanity with one another. We don't have to agree, and we can also accept without approval. I can accept that you're seeing the world this way, and I can stay next to you and learn from you, and you can maybe learn from me.
Be in humanity with one another. I like that a lot. Those are that that's a great
Easier said than
sentence.
done. Sounds good, right?
Be in humanity, bravery and vulnerability. Certainly, if we're to engage and try and improve ourselves and be vulnerable and be in humanity, such an important thing. I'm really comfortable doing that today. I don't know that I was, and I can't remember if prior to being 40 years old, how vulnerable and open I was. And I assume it's that I've reached a different level of maturity and security with myself. So now I'm perfectly comfortable talking about all the stupid things that I've done.
Mhm.
There's a question in there somewhere, but I don't know where. What are your thoughts on that?
Sure, sure. I mean, I'd love to say with age comes wisdom. I think with experience and falling down and getting up and then learning why did I fall down? There's a really great poem, um, and I use it a lot in therapy, where it's I fell into a hole in the sidewalk. Um, and essentially the gist of it is I walk down a sidewalk, I fall into the hole in the sidewalk. The next time I walk down the sidewalk, I see that it's there, I still fall. I can't get out. It's not my fault. Why is this happening to me? The next time I see it, I fall in it, I say, huh, I need to figure out how to not fall in this hole. The next time I fall in the hole, I get myself out. The last time, I just walk it down a different sidewalk. And that's part of humanity too, is going through that iteration of self in life. Feeling safe enough to do that is another story, right? When we are dying on hills these days because it feels like the one thing that we control. I'm also a big stoicism person. What can we control? What can we not control as the foundation? Doesn't mean I don't feel feelings. I literally just told you I throw temper tantrums and pity parties. What I know, though, from practicing Stoicism is that if I recognize what I can do and I focus on what I can do and I let other people be be in control and have their own choices and or not, maybe they're in their own spool of falling into the crack in the sidewalk, right? And recognizing how do I want to react to them? Do I want to make fun of them? Or do I want to say, hey, I've been there too, man. How can I relate to people in a way that is how I relate to someone is a way that is it's reflective of me, right? And so often we're like, oh, well, I'm gonna make fun of somebody else. That reflects more on me than it does on somebody else, right? Because we've all fallen down these cracks in the sidewalk. Um, it's not just life, it's not just time, it's life experience, which I think might have been a part of your question, George, right? Because so many of us do hit ourselves in the head over and over, fall down over and over. But if we're not, and that's community is really the solution to that. Community is, hey, I've been there. Let me learn. Let me teach you, or do you want to learn from me? Or hey, how is this similar or different? And having that openness and being safe enough to share in an honest way. And I didn't know that that could even be done until like I was mentioning like maybe 5 years ago that that was a possibility until I saw other people doing it. Oh my goodness, look at that person just saying these things. We're allowed to. There's a permission there. Community offers us permission. You are who you hang with. Anybody else's like parents to tell them that growing up. I hate it when my parents are right.
It's the worst for sure.
The
That our
worst.
parents were right about most everything. Oh,
Mm.
so infuriating. Well, that makes a lot more sense. Not that it didn't make any sense that you said inspiring others is one of the main things that really animates you and motivates it and drives you. I've been on a similar wavelength, just hearing about how younger generations, millennials, Gen Z, whatever the other names of of generations are struggling so much and not feeling like they're like it's almost like they're actively disengaged in a lot of things. And I think there's a lot of reasons for why that is, and that's fine to unpack those. But I'm like, what can I do, if anything, to say, hey, there's so much more for you. And here's an open hand and open arms, and let's get you to the place where you're feeling good about life and you're feeling good about your situation, regardless of, and I don't know if that's the right thing to say, regardless of what experiences you've had, because probably most of your experiences are leading to the reason you're feeling the way that you're feeling. But I am interested in doing what you're talking about, which is inspiring others also.
Yeah, yeah. I don't, I know that for me, I was not about to listen to anybody, but if I saw somebody doing something, my like biggest thing was I wanted to be more peaceful. I was like, this is chaos. I'm exhausted.
Hmm.
I want to be more peaceful. And I looked around to see if who's peaceful. I wasn't going to listen to anything they had to say yet, but I was very willing to see what they were doing. That's why I think be the change as like kind of common as people say, be the change you want to see in the world versus say the things like be it, do the thing, be the thing. I have a friend who said, be the thing. Yeah, absolutely. And that to me can make a bigger impact on those who are in their stress system. So the foundation of like my work is that when people are stressed, they act differently than when they're not stressed. And that's true in families, that's true in workplaces, that's true in driving down the street on a freeway, if anyone's in a big city or not, even in a small town. People can get real brave and real, in those anonymous type spaces online, right? So when we're stressed, we show up differently than when we're not stressed. And so being able to acknowledge, hey, I'm not myself right now. I'm reacting through fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Fawn is a big one we don't acknowledge. It's when people are being like real super nice and accommodating, and I just want to help. I just want to help to the point that they've exhausted their own resources. We see this a lot in like mothers, especially caregivers, folks who are giving of themselves, and that the idea of the that it's like a good thing to just give, give, give. Oh, all she did was like give to everyone else. Okay, that's not ideal because generally that's an unsustainable approach. Um, so fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, what we want people to do is move into authentic connection. I'm not connecting to you so you'll connect to me. I'm connecting to you because it genuinely brings me joy. Because I see your light, my light sees your light, and gosh, aren't we bright, shining so bright together? And your light ignites part of my light, but that I never even knew was there. We all have somebody in our life who we're like, wow, when I'm with this person, we can set the world on I don't want to say on fire, but we can set the
We can
world
really
in
light it up.
we can light it up in the best way, right? Like we can go into that dark, dark desert and we can shine bright and see things we've never seen before, right? We can go into the dark spaces and see stars we've never seen before and still be safe. So, um, yeah,
So how do I move into that authentic, how do I move into the space personally so I'm available for authentic connection?
yeah. The thing we like to start with is language and being able to acknowledge, hey, I'm noticing that I'm being oppositional and kind of push back. And what is that bringing up in me? What am I afraid of? And that's why I do love, like, what am I trying to control? What am I not trusting? Am I not trusting that I can do it? Am I not trusting that they can do something? Am I afraid of how something is going to work out or not work out? Am I focusing on the outcome versus the being able to be present? Because when we're most joyful is when we're present in the process, when we're riding the wave. We're not worrying about when it's going to end or what's going to happen. We're just enjoying the ride. Life is a roller coaster right now. I mean, and there's so much we don't have control over. And so surrendering in community can be a great start because in our communities specifically, we're talking about things through this lens. There's no shame in the game. We're talking about falling. We're talking about getting up. We're throwing pity parties. We're doing all of the above. We're acknowledging our own patterns and habits, and we're looking for solutions. We're finding out what works for us, what might work for somebody else. We're asking for help, but it starts with having a language to even talk about it. Again, you don't generally say like, "Oh, I'm really feeling stressed," and like this is how I'm adapting and being accountable. We have a training coming up that I'm really a workshop I'm really excited about around conflict management, conflict transformation. It's a 2-day training uh, by an expert in the field, and she's incredible. And it's all about when I fall, how do I get up in relationship with somebody else? And that's applicable at home, at work, at the grocery store, at the line, in line, at the bank. So, we all have times and it's okay. But when we're not able to like release that stress, I mean, we see extreme examples of what happens when somebody doesn't have language to say, I feel scared, I feel isolated, I need help. We see shootings. Those are we see, um, violence outbreaking. We see people internalizing. We see suicidality. We just had Suicide Prevention Month, right? We see substance use. We see people retreating into themselves or acting out on others when they're not able to comfortably have the language to communicate. So it really starts with language. It starts with being in community. I use the language of it's CBT. No, it's DBT. It's also recovery language of like the opposite action. Sometimes it's practicing opposite action. And you mentioned like generationally, you know, I I would argue before there were so many easy comforts available to us, we were forced to sit through commercials or watch whatever was on the TV or play outside until we had to come back inside and figure out how to entertain ourselves. A lot of that is lost. So pushing through and doing things that we don't necessarily want to do. Obviously, we have to discern whether something is unsafe or uncomfortable. Those are important distinctions, right? Just because it's uncomfortable doesn't mean it's unsafe. And how do we push through those things? And sometimes it's building it slowly and it starts in community.
All making the case for being around people that you feel like have your best interest and are caring and can have the resources to help you get to where you want to go. Because why would I engage in work that is challenging and uncomfortable unless I knew that those conditions were there?
Yeah, absolutely. We have to feel safe.
We have to feel safe to feel unsafe.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. There's lots of different ways. Safety. We could just do a whole thing on safety. What does
Yeah.
that even feel like? A lot of us feel safe when things are chaotic and but that's where we discern, am I unsafe or am I uncomfortable? Is this unfamiliar? Again, our brains really love. We just did a training with Rick Griffin from the language neuro language leadership academy, leadership academy, and he talked a lot about how our brain is wired. You mentioned the survival brain, right? But it's also like the familiar brain. We are wired up to do what's familiar. We do what we do. We do what we've always done until we do something different. And so the concept of safety around that can be something worth exploring. Am I unsafe or am I uncomfortable?
I think we need to do a show on safety for sure because if something is advertised that it's a safe space, I'm probably not going to go there.
Uh-huh, right? That language even in itself it can be activating. It can be like there's a lot of associations with that.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite activities is like think of one word and then just make a tree I've gone from green to like, I don't know, tank, machine tank. My brain knows what it means. But I've like written a list. I'm like, how did that happen? Um, but it can be really interesting to see the way that our brains are wired up. And it's okay to be reflective. And it's okay to go in the dark spaces and acknowledge and admit uh, it's better to do that in community where we're safe, where we can have someone else illuminate our dark spaces and we can illuminate theirs. And everyone does have something magical to offer. As a therapist, I can't tell you how many days I end with more wisdom than I came with. There's brilliance in everybody.
Oh, I'm 1,000% sure of that. I mean, fascinating for sure. I mean, every interaction we have with other people is an opportunity to learn. I know I just have that being able to have the opportunity to talk to so many different people on the podcast here that I'm just it's been an education of a lifetime, and I never necessarily expected that. So, well, Andy, thank you so much for coming on. Where can people learn more about you? How can they engage? Tell us about everything you're working on. Well,
Sure, I'd
not
love
not so
to.
much everything, but you things that are
Everything.
germane to our
I'll,
conversation.
I'll give you a hub. How about that? So we have the Resilience Learning Community. You can access it at learn.originstraining.org. We can you can also fo follow us on all the social medias at Origins TC. And you can find me, Andi Fetzner, all around. Happy to have conversations, continue to connect. I'm a licensed therapist in Arizona, and I do stress management coaching nationwide to help support people to apply these principles because it is a process and it can be done.
Love it. Well, if you enjoyed this as much as I did, show Andy your appreciation. Share today's show with a friend who also appreciates good ideas. Go to learn.originstraining.org and check out the community and a lot of what we've been talking about today. You can find them on social media by at Origins TC, the handle, and then Andy Fetzner. All over the internet as well, and obviously
All
everything
over.
all over the internet. I'll link all those in the notes of the show. Thanks again, Andy.
Thanks, George.
Until next time, remember, do your part by doing your best.